Have I seen the TSM subreddit after the Peter Zhang stuff got leaked? Yeah, I mean, so I guess everything is public now. So that is the debate. And obviously they're on different sides. I mean, I've literally talked to Peter Zhang, and then I've talked to people that are around the scene. And obviously that is what the situation is right now within TSM. Like, did Peter Zhang actually use his position to get Chinese and Taiwanese players into TSM for money? Or was it what he said, where he like borrowed money, but he was actually paying it back, and it wasn't like he was actually giving them benefit for financial incentive? Okay, TSM League coach Peter Zhang fired for alleged financial irregularities. So TSM sacked League of Legends, like how they say sacked. Nice. TSM sacked League of Legends coach and head of player development Peter Zhang on March 19th, citing serious allegations of conflict of interest. You know what's so weird about that is like if this is true and Peter actually was taking percentage of player salaries in order to let them like join TSM, like why would they say that and not conflict of interest when like TSM has been notorious for allowing conflict of interest? Like what do they mean? Like, oh, serious allegations of conflict of interest. It's like, yeah, but like you guys are the team that is you literally had a player on the team in a active romantic relationship with the president of the company. Like, what do you mean, like, conflict of interest? Like, you guys allowed that to happen. So, like, this, it's just so weird that they word it like this, because I feel like they could come off so much better if they revealed a little bit more of what the situation was instead of letting Deserto do it. Sources have since told Deserto the reasons behind his dismissal came from an agent-style setup where he'd secure Chinese and Taiwanese players their spots on the team for a cut of their earnings. So, this is what he allegedly did. On March 19th, TSM made the surprising announcement that they would be immediately terminating the contract of League of Legends coach Peter Zhang Yi. The short accompanying statement presented by the LCS organization read, "We were recently made aware of very serious allegations of conflict of interest and unethical practices against League of Legends coach Peter Zhang. After an initial investigation, we have terminated him effective immediately. We are working with the external legal counsel to complete a full investigation." Okay, TSM FTX is what they said. This development is the latest in a long line of controversies for the TSM brand. Despite their position as one of North America's most popular esports entities, they have found themselves consistently under fire for serious managerial missteps. Former president Lina Zhu was at the center of a long controversy regarding her relationship with then player Yiliang Doublelift Peng, a conflict of interest by most professional standards, as she was directly responsible for deciding if he was rehired and the details of his contract. Wait, this was written by Richard Lewis, bro? What a banger! What an absolute banger from Richard Lewis, man. Of course, I could tell. I was like, if they're writing this whole thing and they say this, it has to be Richard that wrote this. This later blew up into further controversy when she leaked details of the team's former jungler Joshua Dardoch Hartnett having trouble finding a new home on Peng's stream. Details that seriously undermined Hartnett's potential bargaining power. True, but that was somehow fine. At the end of 2021, Peng would leave TSM and speak openly about negative experiences with the owner, Andy Reginald Din. Peng's departure would be followed by Zhu, coach Soren Bjergsen-Bjerg, and general manager Parth Naidu. This would lead into a public report on Wired that revealed Din was being investigated for bullying and harassment, both by an independent body appointed by TSM and Riot Games themselves. Oh, all right. That's a face. Oh, I fucked up. Given how adjacent to controversy they have been, of late, many started to speculate the severity of the offenses that had made TSM terminate Yi. A common narrative that cropped up across Reddit and Twitter was that it must have been something to do with match fixing, an issue that saw 38 players, managers, and coaches banned across the Chinese LPL and LDL divisions in April of 2021. In the resultant Reddit thread reacting to Yi's firing, LCS Commissioner Jackie Felling made a point to try and stop speculation about it pertaining to match fixing. Look, you can't fix matches when TSM is losing every game. Like, how do you fix a match? Like, If they won a game, that would be match fixing at this point. Joking, of course. Nothing to do with match fixing, Felling said. This is an internal team matter, not making a statement from Riot at all, but I don't want people to think this had anything remotely to do with match fixing or betting, which it does not. Following our investigation, Deserto can now confirm the reasons for the sudden departure of Peter Zhang. Sources familiar with the matter explained to us that he had used his coaching position for self-enrichment via the method of taking money in exchange for ensuring certain Taiwanese or Chinese players were added to the roster. For guaranteeing their acquisition to TSM, he would take a proportion of their earnings paid as a fee, essentially positioning himself as simultaneously a team coach and an international agent. The claim is that Yi, in his capacity as coach, would work with management to select players for the roster, then that he would go to the player in question and offer to act as their agent, stating that he could get them on the TSM roster if they allowed him to represent. For negotiating the deal, he would take a cut of the player's earnings, often much higher than a standard agent's fee for brokering the deal. Zhang reportedly had an agent style agreement. Okay, so this is what he said before. Okay, this is picture Peter. That's my coach, baby. That was my coach in season 5. Okay, in addition to this, the same source informed us that Yi was borrowing significant sums of money from many figures under the TSM organization, including players across both the main and academy roster. The use of this money, said to be a sizable amount in total, are not clear, although Yi himself cited a medical emergency involving his grandparents. The veracity of this claim is not clear-cut, but when affected parties raised concerns about the loans, they started to be paid back. At the time of reporting this, almost all the money has been recouped. Okay, so this is what the debate is on. In regards to the matter of these loans, Riot Games are currently investigating the matter and will likely expand their investigation to encompass any propriety around his dual role as a team coach and player agent. There are other reasons for their release, the source concluded, but those are the two most significant. Deserto spoke at length with Yi about the allegations when he explained which he explained were either a misunderstanding or malicious framing of the events. First, he explained that at no point was he acting as a player agent. He admitted that he was receiving a percentage of TSM Academy player Wang Yursun Shenyu's salary, $1,000 per month, but that this was a fee. This fee was being sent to his actual agent and that he was merely a conduit for the transaction. So he's saying, hey, I'm not actually taking money. Like, because we'll explain it here, but because I'm a US green card holder and I can have like bank accounts in both countries, I can just move the money for you so you don't have to go through like all this bullshit. He added that he often exchanged yuan for dollars for players across the squad as he was a US green card holder and had bank accounts in both countries that made it easier. He believes these transactions might give the appearance of wrongdoing. In regards to the need for sudden loans, he explained that he did have a family emergency and provided proof he had asked for time off to return to China for this matter. However, the need for the loans was precipitated by his former player Hu Sword Art Xu Che. According to Yi, during Sword Art's time on the team, he worked with Yi to sell an $80,000 car he had purchased for use during his time in the US. After his return to China to play for Weibo Gaming, Xu Che, Sword Art asked Yi to sell the car for him and send him the money upon the sale of the car. Yi had kept the money and was stalling payment due to his grandmother's surgery. Earlier in the month, Xu Che, Sword Art, had demanded the money back and stated that if he was not paid, he would go public about the debt. With the money spent, Yi turned to the players on the organization for loans to ensure that the matter was not made public. I recognize that keeping the money from the sold car was wrong, he said, but I was working towards paying that debt and paid half before I was fired. My grandmother's bill was due at the end of the month, and so I was able to pay both. So I wasn't able to pay both debts. I was having a very hard financial time, but I will pay back every penny to Sword Art. The other claims against my person are not true. It is common in China for friends and colleagues to loan each other money. I have learned a hard lesson about the cultural differences in America. I will work with Riot in any investigation and have evidence necessary to prove my innocence. As part of our discussions with Yi, he showed us receipts of transactions that he claims were for money exchanges done with the full knowledge and approval of the other parties involved. Currently, Yi plans to fly back to his native China ahead of any public statements from TSM. Deserto understands TSM are considering legal action. TSM told Deserto we have no additional comment beyond our original statement at this time. So there you go. I mean, we have to see what is actually happening, you know? So Peter is not admitting to wrongdoing on one side of things, and on the other side of things, TSM is claiming that he was pretty much acting as an agent as well as a coach for the players.